All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shine. Let's get into this video.
List that just got leaked about which occupations they're going to draft first? Allegedly. Let's look into it. Now, right before we get into the occupation list, there is someone by the initials AJ who did prove that they were running simulations with AI to see how it'd go down if there was a military draft. I'm not saying it's true, even though the guy proved it. And then this got leaked. So, list of jobs that'll be drafted first. Computer network technicians, electronic technicians, aerospace engineers, divers, welders, gas turbine engine mechanics, electricians, heavy equipment operators, longshoremen, steelworkers, pipe fitters, radar communications, fiber optic technicians, mariners, aviation, structural mechanics, cybersecurity specialists, robotic operators, and technicians, air traffic controllers, logistics specialists. So on July 23rd, 2026, Selective Service released a military contract for software to simulate military drafts, with the contract age being 6 to 12 months. It's worth noting that September 11th, 2001, there was also a simulation called Operation Vigilant Guardian. Now keep in mind, there's 2 countries right now actively doing drafts, and Europe may be the 3rd one to add to that list. Yeah guys, this is pretty weird. Let me know what you think below. Did y'all?
Right. And as he said there are 2 countries currently actively doing drafts right now. Right. Now, here's the thing. I believe one of the countries doing a draft is Ukraine. And I'm not too sure what the other one is. I want to say it's Russia, but a lot of the Russian military is voluntary right now. So far, the only military draft I know of right now is of Ukraine. But as you can see, they're already letting you know on Esau's already letting you know. Whereas you can see that in Yahoo's in the topic, of course. But Esau is already letting you know how he's going to start drafting y'all. Right? Start drafting the American citizens. Right? So a lot of you patriots that are, America first, America this, America's the best place on earth. Well, you're about to get drafted from the so-called best place on earth into another country to fight for a country that isn't yours, right? So as you can see with America, they're letting you know which roles they're going for, right? And of course, it's like the same thing with the CV, the ones that were allowed to work were the essential workers, and the non-workers not so much. But this time, where they're going so far for the essential workers, and eventually they're just going to go for anyone. Anyone is going to just have to be able to just fit for the war. As you can see, not too long ago, they already removed the weed restriction. And let's get that out. Let's get that out right here. Did they drop the weed restriction? Slovakia. Did they drop the weed restriction for the military? It says, no, the military has not dropped the rule against using marijuana for active service members. However, the Army did ease rules for new recruits who have a single past conviction for marijuana possession. And right. And eventually what's going to end up happening is the Army is going to start getting very easy on a lot of your possessions. So if you did a marijuana in the past, eventually they're not going to care. You're going to the front lines, right? If you did or mental health or whatever, basically they're going to need cannon fodder, right? Because as you know, according to the prophecy, this is a war America will not win and cannot win, has no chance of winning at all, right? So Esau's going to be like a madman sparing none. So it says right here, Matthew chapter 24, verse 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet, right? Because, of course, before the conclusion of this war, which will end in the destruction of America, comes Sihip, right? Let's get Joel chapter 3, verse 2. I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and part of my land. Right, and this Israel is talking about the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Now, of course, this all the nations are going to be basically shoved into this last war, right? The nations are going to have a choice, because I believe in World War II. There was actually a few nations that were neutral, like Sweden was neutral, I believe, and there were some other nations that were neutral when it came to World War II. But for World War III, this time, nations are not going to be. They're going to have to join the war, right? Because especially with your oil at stake and your resources at stake, these nations will have to become a war type of economy, right? Because nothing is going to really be coming through resource-wise. And as we can see, we even have nations that aren't really known for fighting joining the fight. For instance, Saudi Arabia just struck, I believe, Iraq. So as you can see, Saudi Arabia is about to get caught up in this war too, right? And that's how the Lord wants it. So it says, and if they say to you, but where can we go? This is Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 2. And if they say to you, but where can we go? Tell them, this is what the Lord says. Those who are destined for death, to death. Those who are destined for war, to war. Those who are destined for famine, to famine. Those who are destined for captivity, captivity, right? So, and we know that, not only this World War III really is a judgment from Yahweh, right? So a lot of these people are going to die by famine. They're going to die by the sword, right? For those that are destined for death, you're going to have those that are destined to be judged by Yahweh, and those that do die for Yahweh Shai by being a martyr, right? So you'll have a death of glory and a death of shame. Those who take the Sihip will die a very painful, shameful death. But those who die for Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, will die a glorious death, right? And they're going to have those destined for war. A lot of men are going to be drafted to the war, right? And those who are destined for famine. So even if you don't go to war, you're going to have people starve back here, right? And then you're going to have those destined for captivity. And who is destined for captivity? Esau. The Edomites are going to captivity, and the rest of the nations are going to go into slavery, but Esau is absolutely destined for captivity of 1,000 years, and then he's going to be exterminated. So, I hope this lesson is edifying. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh, Shai, and Shalom.